Well, thank you for coming in, and I'm glad to explain to you about divorce in California. I know that many people going through a divorce are very worried about what's going to happen to them. They're frightened, they're concerned about their financial privacy. So I'll be able to answer your questions about everything you have today. So let's go for it.
Okay, to start with, how's our property divided?
That's a good question. It's a major issue because in California, from the date of your marriage into the date of separation, you have what we call community property. And that means any assets or debts or income that you receive during the marriage, during that time, is considered community property. And it is divided when you dissolve the marriage. So you don't have to cut everything in half. Instead, what you do is you make a balance sheet. So for example, if you have a house and a 401k and they're worth about the same in terms of equity, one spouse may take the house, the other spouse may take the 401k. So that's how you do it. But once we have the balance sheet, we look at who owes who what, and we look at the difference between the two sides, and then we divide by 2. So if we need to, we can get a forensic accountant to value a business. We do all that jointly in mediation, so you don't have the battle of the experts. So it's a simple process. It may take a little bit of time, but we work through it together.
So, do I have to disclose all my assets and debts?
That's another really good question because you have a very high fiduciary duty in the state of California. You must disclose all your property. That means your community property, the property that you have acquired during the marriage, as well as your separate property, which is property that you acquired before marriage or by inheritance or by gift or after date of separation. It doesn't matter. You must disclose it to each other. Doesn't mean you share your separate property, but you must disclose it. And you must also disclose all your possible financial interests and business interests. So yeah, it's a very high duty, and if you don't do that, it could be a real problem for you if you got to court.
Okay, so what about my separate property? Do I have to split it with my spouse?
No, you don't. That's a good question. So as I told you a minute ago, your separate property is the property that you acquired prior to marriage or after the date of separation or a gift from a family member or if you got inheritance. You don't have to share that at all. However, the income from that may be used for child and spousal support. So what we're going to do now is we're going to spend a little time just going over some of these things. And then for the video, for my video audience, we're going to come back and do some more about some of the other really important questions. So thank you. These are great questions.